topic is how to auto-populate the timeline. So this is my portfolio board, and I'm going to open this template also at the side. Okay, so this is a typical scenario where you have portfolio board, right? This is project portfolio where every line item is a project, right? Also, and then you have person column who's responsible, the status. If you have date column, you can use that. Also, I do have this contact column. This is nothing but connected to the contact board here. It's just in my previous webinars, I have explained the connection column and the mirror column. So I just use this two-way connection contact board so that I can see who's my contact in that company. And also, so for example, this is the contact and this is the company. So I have this contact column and client column coming from the contact board, which is here. So I'm not going to give, because these topics I have already covered, so I'm not going to give emphasis on this, but we're going to look at something different today. So let's assume that this is a project, and now this is just a line item, right? But now you do have some tasks related to project. So of course you have a project board, right? So this is our project template. Right now, there is no connection between project portfolio and project template because I wanted to explain you from the scratch. So I just have the project names here, and I know that more or less my template, I always have the standard template, which is this. I do have some tasks, then timeline, and the completion status, the status, and the owner. Okay, and this board, I have picked it up from the template center, which is right from here. As you know, we do have a template center if you are using a Monday board. And this, I love this template center because let's say that you're starting a process. Of course, you do have some processes and workflows, but this just gives you the starting point to build something in Monday, right? You don't have to think, okay, how I should structure my board and how I should, give my columns or where do I place them. So this is just a starting point you have by this template. So I just use that. I just use this template, project template. Right now, this is just a board where so I know that for my every project, I want to have something like this every time. So all my projects are gonna look like this. Okay, because I know I always use a standardized project board. So then how do I do that? Of course, there's a one way of doing it that because this is a template, again, I have taken it from the template center. So one way is you go here and you go to template, and then you choose this template and use a template. Okay, another way, so this is existing template. I'm again and again, I'm adding it from here. Now, another way that I have used existing template, but I made some changes in my in the board, which is there already in Monday, because of course, you won't be using a Monday board as it is, right? You may have some changes. So now I do have this template. I have customized this board according to my organization. And now I want to add it again and again, this template for my project work. So then every time I don't have to go there and add a template and then adjust this, right? You can also duplicate this board, right? Duplicate this board. But when you duplicate, what happens? The duplicate name comes, and then you have to change the name. Another way is just add this board as a template. Okay, so if you add this template a board as a template, that means that now this will be added as a template. So now you see this template is in your account. So anybody in your account can use this template. So all they have to do is, so now this ribbon was not there, but I defined this board as a template, project template. So now if you go into your template center, right, on right hand side, left hand side, you have this template created in your account. So if you go here, of course, I do have many templates, but I'm going to search for the template which I just created. Okay, let's give some different name. Always the new templates are here. So you see now I just add. So now you see a plus sign. So you just add it and you say use template and the new board will be created. You can define the privacy level also, and then you can create this board. This is useful when you are adding when you want a standardized project board and you want to use it again and again. So what you do once, so you take the template from the template center, customize it, and then define that, because now this is your template, your custom, your organization template. Then define it as a template and then use that again and again, right? So now another way is you can do this, or another way is I have also taken this example in my previous webinars, but that was with the integration. So you can also use the integration, which is sorry, automation, which is create board automation. So you can use this automation here, that when my start, so this is called board creation automation, like template creation. You see, automation. I'll show you how to customize it. So when I'm gonna say status changes to something, so you're gonna look for the create board automation. Okay? Create board from template. So let's say when my status changes to working on it, because now I'm in my project portfolio and I have a status, and as soon as I say working on it, I need my template to be, my project board to be created. So now partially I built it. I just filled these blank spaces. So now I'm defining. Now it also asks you which board you want to take, like which template you want to take, because this is a choose board template, right? So I'm gonna say project new, project template new. So this is a template I have selected because this is just a blueprint, right? Now, we also have ability to give the name to the board. So instead of saying new board, we can also say, because my item name is nothing but the my item name is nothing but the project name, right? So then I can say item name, and I also have client. So I can also add client, right? So so I have defined the name. So by doing this, it's like it's a smart way of doing it, because you don't have to rename anything. You are already selecting your item name, right? And also you're using that client name, right? And then also these are the advanced features where you can also select the workspace. So I am in this demo for webinar workspace. I can also select the folder. I'm going to select the folder, which is customer project. Also, I can select. So by default, because I'm creating this automation, I will be also, I am owner, but I can also add one more owner. So let's add Jessie. She's also here with us in our webinar. So I'm going to choose her also as a owner. And if you want to add just subscribers, you can add team members also automatically. So that if the traditional way, if you go, you have to create a board, then you have to add an owner, you have to add, and then that you have to do every time, because every time you're creating a project, you have to do that again and again. So this one, with this automation, you are doing it like automatically. You are already defining that this is my owner and this is my team members. Let's say that you have different team members every time. So don't fill this. Only you, if you are a project manager or someone else is project manager, always add their name as a owner. So at least that way just you're having them as a owner, and then it's on them to add whoever they want to add as a team member or a board subscriber, right? So now I have defined that, and now I'm creating the automation. So now I have already done my automation, and my automation says that whenever my status changes to working on it, the campaign management mode should be created somewhere here in the customer project. Let's give few seconds and refresh this. See, so for some reason, my client name hasn't come, but maybe there's some glitch. But my item name has come here, client management, right? And also because I added Jessie as a owner, she is also here, right? So we have reduced some steps by using this automation. So now I've still not come to my actual webinar topic. So now we have used that automation, and very successfully we have created the project board. But one thing you will notice here, that it has taken the same timeline as my template board. So you see now first, of course it will take, because tasks are same, and they will be same because we want the standardized tasks. You can choose to have this status column empty, right? So what we will do is, basically when you will have the template, you will not, of course for the demo purposes I filled this timeline, but for any new project there will be only task, and the statuses will be empty. And then timeline, I always tell my clients to have some reference timeline, and reason I will tell you why. Some people, they go for empty timeline because they want to select a timeline also again. But for today's topic, that's our topic, right? We want to auto populate our timeline, but we want to auto populate not just this timeline, but we want to auto populate the timeline which is required for us, and not the time. This is like in May, like in past. So that's why I thought of bringing this topic to you. So now, yes, so now I have achieved automating this workflow, and now I have eliminated some steps. But what about this timeline, right? So if there is this timeline here, uh, then same timeline will be coming here, because in the background, Monday is just duplicating the board, but by using automation, we are removing some steps for us. So now what we have to do, how we can adjust this timeline. Now you know that, okay, so if we have to adjust this timeline manually, then you go here and adjust each and every timeline, each and every task, and that is tedious, right? But I do have a workaround for this. And for that, we need to have one column which may not be necessary for your workflow, but just to adjust this timeline, we need that column, and that column is a dependency column. And in my past webinar, I have already taken this dependency column concept, but I'm going to show you again, explain you again, because without that you will not understand. So now, recently Monday updated their dependency feature. Now we do have flexible, strict, and no action. But in this case, we want our timeline to change, right? So we are gonna, by default, it's always flexible, but we don't want flexible. We want the strict dependency. And I'll tell you the reason later. So now this is the adjustment we are doing. Add a dependency column in the timeline and say strict dependency, and then see. Now what we are going to do, and this is, I know that I'm adding this dependency column in the project board, but we are going to add it in the template only, but I wanted to show it here. And then you have to always add this dependency in the template, so that whenever you are creating a board, it will have that column there. So let's add it in the dependency only. Assume that it's the actual project, right? It's not a template, but when you are doing it, you have to add it in the dependency. So let's say you have to add it in the project template only. So I'm using it strict save. Okay. So now, so this is the timeline. I've added dependencies. As you all know, that dependency means that means that my first task is second task is dependent on the first task. And how do I define my dependency? By adding this task here. So that means my task one. So my task two is depending on task one. Until my task one is over, I cannot start my task two. So this is just a one-time adjustment you have to do. Task three. And task three. And then milestone planning. I have already one board ready with all the dependencies filled, but I didn't want it to show you that, because sometimes if I show you on the screen and then later on I get many queries saying that, um, hey, how did you do that? So I thought of doing it from the scratch. So task six. Okay, so it's just one task. Your next task is depending on the previous task. Okay. And this time it's milestone execution. Task 7, task 8, task 9. Okay. Okay, so now let me just check if everything is okay. Otherwise, it will not work the way we want. Task 1, task 2, task 3, then milestone planning 4, 5, 6, then execution 7, 8, 9. Okay, looks good. So now I'm going to show you again. We will do the same step, because this is the initial setting. You have a timeline column, and because we wanted to auto populate the timeline in our newly created project, we did this existing one time setup. We added the dependency columns and we defined these relationship. And you will do exactly as I explained you. Just take this call. So 2 is dependent on 1, 3 is dependent on 2, and so on. Okay. And you don't have to do it again and again. And that is the reason we did it in the template. Okay. Even if you don't have dependencies, right, in order to auto-populate the timeline, we have to have this column. So that is why I didn't add that before. And now I wanted to show you give you some context, and then I added it here. Okay, so now I will go back to my project portfolio, and this time I'm going to add this. I'm going to add this project. So same thing. I will just working on it so that this board will be created. Now I have this board created. And now because I added dependency so beautifully, we already have dependencies. We don't have to do this tedious task, because this is a little bit like cumbersome that, you have to click exact tasks. We don't have to do that again and again. You have that dependency column readily available. Now we are coming back to the same problem, that but my new project may not have this timeline. This is in the past. So now what do I do? Because we added this dependency, and in previously I told you, if you have to change this timeline, you have to go there and you have to change each and every task. But now, because we added this dependency, there's a magic, there is some magic is going to happen here. And I'm going to do that right here. So you just have to adjust this timeline of only the first task. So you see, instead of May 1st, and you have to just click once. Believe me when I say this. So I'm going to go to September, and I know that my timeline is going starting from first of September, or let's say not first, let's say 4th, because it's first is Friday, not useful. So okay, so 4th, it's starting from 4th. I'm just gonna click once. As you all know, timeline, we have to click 2 times because there are 2 timeline. But in this particular case, just click once because we already have 8 days. 1 to 9 is 8 days, right? So just click once, right? Automatically, you see now 4 to 12 because I just changed my start date. And now, you see, you didn't even realize that my entire timeline is changed. This way, and it's really tedious that, when you're going to follow the same pattern from all your projects, when you have the same timeline, you know that, okay, it's going to take 9 days or 10 days, then why do you have to change the timeline again and again for each task, right? So this is just a workaround. When for some of our clients, we were using dependencies, and recently the dependency was there in their existing workflows, right? And then recently Monday announced this flexible strict three mode of dependencies: flexible, strict, and no action. So, and I changed it to strict because this will happen only in strict. Okay, for this to work, we have to have strict timeline, because if it is a flexible, then if there is no overlapping between the two, it may or it may not work. The timeline will not change. For no action, definitely it's not going to change. But so for this to work, we need to have strict, so that exactly same strict dependency means if this changes, let's say that there is, so you see now 1 day is there in between, right? Or there are some, let's say that this is 12 for 4th to 12, and this one is like 17 to 21st, and there is 5 days gap for some reason. But when you say strict, it will keep that 5 days gap too. Like every time it will keep that. So that is why I chose strict dependency, so that exactly the timeline will exactly look like your template timeline, but that was in May. And now whichever time, whatever day you want to start your project, you want to plan working on your project, you can give that. Just choose the first day, right? And automatically my entire timeline will change within just one. So I hope this feature will help you, and it will eliminate the trouble of changing the timeline every time for all the tasks. Because right now this project is like really small, like because this is a dummy project, you just have 3 or 4 tasks. But the actual projects I have seen, they have like so many tasks. Plus, if you have, because each task, then there can be some other task and some team members. So the project board is not, so we some clients have to really scroll down a lot, right? And then changing the timeline every time, it takes time, effort, right? And you may forget to add some timeline, right? So this way, at least everything is automatic. You just do one setting at this initial setting in the template, and then it's going to repeat again and again. So this completes our today's training.